So a few hours ago, I did a video on the Ghostty terminal, and frankly, I got a couple of things wrong. Now, most of that video I completely stand by, and this isn't a video where I'm like, oh, woe is me, I'm gonna cry about getting things wrong. But if I'm gonna talk about a piece of software, I want to make sure we're actually talking about things that are actually happening in the software, not getting things wrong because I didn't read enough of the documentation, I didn't read it deeply enough. Also, I want to correct some things that people are saying fix the issues I have, because some of those things are also wrong. So, the very first thing that I want to talk about is the lack of a list of keybinds. What I checked is the online documentation. I actually didn't notice the thing in the man page. That's entirely my fault. What I looked at here, in the menu, we have the bindings here, and for some reason, this one here, the view open tabs, does not have the binding in the tooltip. There is absolutely no reason why that shouldn't be in the tooltip. That definitely should be there. However, if we go and run Ghostty plus, not dash, which is weird, I don't know why it's plus, don't do that, please use dashes, list key binds. This is going to list out all of the keybinds for the application, including the ones that you have added yourself. Now, there are a number of issues here. Firstly, the bindings are in some weird random order. Why is go to tab 1 followed by go to tab 6 and then 7 and then 5 is up here followed by 8 and then 3? There's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason for that. That should be in a numbered order 100%. Also, there are a number of things that actually are not bound in the application. So if we pipe this into grep and then search for new underscore split, new split right and new split down are bound. However, there is no binding for new split left and new split up, both of which can be bound by the user. I stand by the fact that some things in the application are not bound at all, and you require configuring the application to use it out of the box. Not as much as I thought, though. In the same vein, toggle tab overview is what is used to actually see that overview. If we search for toggle full screen, toggle split zoom, and inspector toggle, this is also not bound out of the box. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. Along with the bindings being in a really weird order, I do think they should be listed in the graphical documentation as well. Whether that be under the keybind section as like a key reference list, or maybe under the help section, it absolutely should be listed. And the problem with having incomplete documentation is it's worse than no documentation. Yes, the man page is here. And yes, I should have looked at the man page. That's my bad. However, there is no reason it should not be in the documentation as well. Now let's also talk libadwaita. This is another major concern I had with the application. It's not as much of a concern as I thought it was. However, it's still a problem. So, if we go into the configuration, there is an option called gtk-adwaita equals false. So, if we set that, close the application, reopen Ghostty, now it's going to draw the application using regular old GTK4, not libadwaita. However, it is still using client-side decorations. As you can see, the menu is still in the bar. Also, unlike my regular windows, we don't have my red accent color. So this still is not actually the thing I want to see happen. Anyone suggesting this was the solution, it's addressing the symptom of libadwaita, it's not addressing the problem of client-side decorations. However, there is another option. We don't actually need both of these. If we set gtk-title bar equals false, close the application, reopen it, now it does render with server-side decorations. But it creates a different problem. Because everything was in the client-side decorations, and this is like a fallback at the end, you don't have the menu listing out the things you can go and click on. This is a better place than where we started, but it does lose out on all of the graphical menu functionality. We can still like right-click stuff, and most of that stuff still work just fine, but we don't have the menu there. Also, the tab overview, that actually is part of libadwaita. So without libadwaita enabled, this will not function. This is actually like a core libadwaita element. You'll see this in various other applications. Also, I didn't say this myself, but I saw it in my comment section. This is not written in JavaScript. I didn't say it was written in JavaScript. I don't know where you got the idea that it was written in JavaScript. It is primarily Zig. There is no JavaScript in this codebase. Whilst Ghostty as a terminal isn't really super exciting, I do think the big vision actually has a really cool future. Basically trying to serve a role similar to VTE, just not being VTE. The idea is libGhostty, the thing that is basically the library version of Ghostty, is supposed to be the backend for other terminals that want to exist out there, providing a fast and not super feature-rich, but feature-rich enough backend for other terminals to build off of, so they don't have to build a terminal from scratch, and they don't have to build a terminal from VTE, and VTE to be VTE. And with that, Ghostty acts as sort of a reference implementation of that idea. And I think with further terminals down the line, with a Qt interface or with a GTK interface that takes this menu and actually gives you a menu bar so you can see it when the application is not using client-side decorations, I think that would actually be a massive improvement. Honestly, I'm going to keep an eye on this project. I want to see where that goes. And when we talk about a terminal being hyped up and all that stuff, even the dev is like fully aware that he didn't expect people to be this excited about a terminal emulator. As I said, this is not a bad project by any means. This is a great terminal, but the problem is, again, there's just so many other great terminals out there. In the sea of great terminals, it's just another great terminal. In the context of GNOME, this makes sense as a libadwaita application in that environment. If you hide the bar and you use it like any other terminal, it's just console. It's just alacrity. It's just cosmic term. It's just a terminal. And I'm standing by that conclusion. If you like the terminal, that's cool. And on GNOME, I probably would use this as my main terminal, but, you know, otherwise I'm just going to use anything else, and if I want tabs and splits, I just use tmux. But that's just me. If you like it, you like it. And that's it. And yes, I'm aware that it also supports GLSL shaders, but like, I don't care. It's a terminal, right? Like, yes, you can add some like fancy graphics to a terminal, but like, why? Like, it's cool, but like, why? Tell me, what is the use case?